What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, coming at you with the Major League Baseball Show 26 review. In my opinion, Major League Baseball The Show has always been the game that has been like the most perfect, like, to a sports game than all of the sports games. Just for years, Madden and NBA 2K and um, and WWE 2K. Um, they've all been in a couple years since college football coming back as well. The college football game. Um, they've all been fun to play, something like that. But there have always been things that just didn't seem to make sense and needed to be, you know, looked at or reviewed. So many things with Madden, so many things with NBA 2K, college football, etc. But Major League Baseball, the show has always been pretty much the same. So, and I have never been upset. No, I'm never getting upset with Major League Baseball, the show, or any of the other games that keep the same look, because the look of all these games are pretty much great and pretty much perfect. There doesn't need to be any changes to that, or look different or anything like that. It's totally fine. You know, and when it comes to like the things around the game, I think for that much it has been fine. I don't play things like Road to the Show or Road to anything like that. I've been kind of like a franchise mode guy when it comes to um, to Major League Baseball the show. And again, I think most of the part it's been perfect. I think some of the things that I have lagged on it about, and I'm gonna do it here as well. And I think we can start it off. Is that in the past, since Shohei Ohtani has come to the game and has come alive, you still have not been able to create a player that hits or pitches for their primary position, and then have them pitch or hit for their secondary position. You haven't been able to do that, and I think if it's the best player in the game, more than likely, if it's not him, it's Aaron Judge, but I think it's Shohei, because he does pitch and hit both at an MVP level. Then you should be able to create your own Shohei Ohtani. I don't know why that was so hard to say. But you should be able to create your own Shohei Ohtani. A pitcher that also plays the outfield or something like that. Or vice versa. An outfielder who can pitch. I don't see why they either don't look at that and say that's going to be a great asset to the game, or they do look at it and they just say, well, what you can do is you can take a pitcher and put him and play him at a position player, and if he plays out and if he plays at a position so many times during the franchise mode, but then he gets that, he automatically gets that secondary position or whatever. And I'm like, well, no. I just want to create a pitcher that pitches and then can play a position. Why can't I do that? And they still have not been able to do that. Another thing that you can't create is a utility player / DH. You can't create a player that is able to play all 9 positions. And I really wish you could do that. When you create your player, you can put him at left field, and sure you can also select positions. And they got they got in left field. He could also be an infielder, or he could play the other position an outfielder. But how about making us being able to play every position on a diamond? Because there are players out there who can do that. who are so versatile enough that they can play every position, even catcher, out on the diamond defensively. And there are also players, especially in this new era of baseball where the DH is in both leagues. There are also people kind of like Kyle Schwarber who just DHs. And that's all they do. They just DH. And that should be one as well. Just, find somebody who just DHs all the time. Create a player who just all he does is DH. Why can't we do that? Have him DH or in the second position, maybe it could be the outfield or something, or first base, whatever. But you should be able to not only create a pitcher who can, or a position player that can do both pitch and hit. Create a player who can do both pitch and hit. Y'all should be able to create a utility player and a designated hitter. To me, that makes a whole lot of sense. So now let's go to franchise mode. There was a lot of upgrades to franchise mode, or at least they thought there were upgrades to franchise mode, and I don't like them one bit. I don't like them one bit. They need to give us the option to turn those off. When we start our franchise mode, you should be able to, and you can be able to do everything. You can be able to turn whether you want to turn on or off, or go to the classic style of having a DH, where a DH was in the American League and no DH was in the National League. You can turn off, forcing trades or anything like that. You can turn off so many things. These new franchise addicts, you need to be able to turn those off or not, because they can hamper the way you want to play franchise mode. I know that happens for me. I have a certain way that I want to play franchise mode. I usually do four franchises, and on three of those franchises, I want to move the players. I do for those in three of those four franchises. I want to move players around from my team to other teams and vice versa. And I want to be able to do it. I want to be able just to do it freely. I don't want to have to worry about if someone is signed is in the first year of their contract. That's trash. I want to be able to just trade them freely, and you can't do that. And that sucks. In one franchise, I had to select all 30 teams so that I could be able to trade the players I want to trade with, freely, move them around freely, without having to worry about. I still did get the person cannot be traded because they're in the first year of a new deal. I still had that bullshit, but at least I didn't have to worry about we'll wait a couple days to see if they want to trade it to you. No, I want the trade to happen immediately. So it really just hurt my heart, because they didn't that did not needed to be there. It just did. Or again, if you wanted to just add something new, okay, but give us the option to turn that shit off. Really. Please give us the option to turn that off. Some of the things I saw as I immediately first played it, there were some audio that was messed up. Because Boog and Chris Singleton would be talking about, something having nothing to do with, but they would be talking about the past batter or something like that, or they would say something like, here's the league leader in OPS coming up to the plate, and you check and he's nowhere near being the leader of the OPS, the guy that you had at the plate. And the audio was so janky. There's been 4 or 5 patches that they've added um, since the early access last week. So maybe all that stuff is fixed. I would hope so. I have not played it because I have not played since any other updates because I've gotten back into my college football bunkers. I'm doing college football 26 right now, but I'm gonna try to get back to it next week once the season starts, the true season starts. By the way, isn't that weird that the season starting at the end of March? It's kind of interesting. So, well, not even the end, just like a week before the end of March. You know, Wednesday, March 25th is when the league officially starts. So I always find that kind of crazy. Also, when it comes to franchise mode, the stats aren't you know showing up correctly. I played like 5 games in a franchise mode, and I know that the guy that came up to plate, I know he had at least a home run, and he had like 4 or 5 other hits, and they had him at 0 home runs, 0 RBIs, and a 0 batting percentage. Like, really? This never happened in any of the past games. They just sometimes I do wonder, like, I know they do testing. They gotta have like their own testing guys who sit there and play the game before they drop it off for lunch, just to see if there are any bugs, any things, anomalies and things like that. But did they not like catch these before? And this has never happened. Like, this has never happened in the games prior games where they've been like bugs like this, where they've shown the stats wrong, or they've been talking about one thing that has nothing to do with the batter or the pitcher on the mound, and they're talking about someone else. The audio has like never been anything like that. Or you hit a ground ball, and they're talking about you hitting a home run. Or are you having a home run streak, and you hadn't hit a home run yet in franchise mode? What home run streak? I've not hit a home run just yet. So hopefully that's what these patches have come up, and they've fixed that. I also had a couple issues with the game crashing during franchise mode at certain times, so hopefully that's helped as well. Now, those are all my gripes. The pros I do have, again, there's this, like I said before, I think this has pretty much been the, perfect sports game for the most part. So here's what they added. They added pitch count, which I think is actually very interesting theory, to where when you're a pitcher, whether it's through the speaker on the controller, or if you get your headphones on in your headphones, you will hear like a machine-like voice, robot-type voice that tells you the pitch and what pitch you should throw next, and where the location should be. They'll come up and say, fastball, up in the middle. And it'll say that. And then of course, if you see on the screen, if you have these things turned on, because some of these sometimes players they don't want all that stuff. They want to do it their own self. But I still like to have those things on sometimes. And you'll see it, like that's where the mark is for you to throw the ball at. That's what they have the mark on the screens for you to throw it at. So I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty good. They've also added the ABS system, where you can challenge for balls and strikes. I think this is a great one as well. Now I didn't see it in for play mode or anything like that. But it did happen. It does happen during franchise mode. And you play franchise games, so I like that. The computer doesn't seem to do it all the time. And they're right like a lot of times as well. And so that's a little bit annoying. But if they are wrong, they get 2 challenges, and every time you're right, you keep a challenge. But if they get 2 wrong challenges, they're out of challenges. And then that's when, if you get a type of players who got good stuff, oh man, you can hit that outside corner for a strike. That's a little bit off the plate, and they'll take it. Can't do nothing about it. But I still think they challenge a little bit too much. At least for my taste, I think they do. So, but yeah, they've added that in as well. So I thought that was great and special. So other than the other garbage that they put in franchise mode, they have changed some of the other things. They've changed the way like stats are done. So now it's not American League and National League stats. They've also added in Major League Baseball stats, what I think is great. They combine so that if you get a home run leader, he just doesn't show up on National League. He shows up like they now have it for the Major League, so he can show up and be the Major League leader in home runs. I like that. I think they for any other thing I didn't write it down or can't think of it right now, but yeah, I think that may be it. For my thoughts on it, I didn't have too many. Just the new franchise mode stuff really turned me off. And again, next year you gotta give us the ability to turn that shit off, because you're hampering the way some of your fans play the game. And I always say this about every year that I have that. I know that there are things that I do that other people don't do and other people don't care about. But I think that also goes for me. There are some people that other people care about that I don't give a shit about. Now, I'm sure there are going to be people talking about there's some things wrong with Road to the Show. I don't fucking care. I don't play Road to the Show. Like I'm sure people don't fucking care about the fact that they don't, how they don't care about having the things turned off in franchise mode because they don't play the way I play. But all of us need to be, all of us need, I'll say this, all of us need to have the ability to have fun playing this game. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with just adding an option that allows you to play this new way that you've created, or to play the way that you may want to, or to just so that you can play the way you want to play and just turn these new assets off. It's garbage. So for my review, again, it's a great game to play. All of the things, but the stuff they did with franchise mode really just it was just a downer. So a game that is usually a 4.5, even maybe 4 3/4 type game, drops down to being just a 4-star game this year. Sorry. Give us the options next year, and this game could be a 5-star game. But until then, it's just a 4-star game. Alright guys, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about my review. Were there any things about this game that you would like to see changed, or you like to see added, or whatever? Post them down in the comment section. And give me your review as well. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.